What's up? This is Richie and Jamie from the Where We Wild YouTube channel, and we have a lot of houseplants. I don't really know how many we have right now. It's under 50.
Yeah.
You know, we're not addicted.
It's not that bad.
It's not out of control at all. But yeah, no, a lot of our friends and family are always like, God, your plants are so beautiful. How do you take care of so many? We can't even keep one alive. So we thought maybe make a little playlist about houseplant care. Maybe it'll help some people out.
Yeah.
And in this first video, we're going to talk about the most basic of houseplant needs, water. It seems like such a simple thing, but it can be a little tricky, you know, knowing when to water and how to water and just all the little tips and tricks that we have learned accumulating all these plants and keeping them alive. So we're going to share that stuff with you guys, and yeah, let's get into it. All right, so to start off, I think the first thing we have to talk about is knowing when to water your plants. And each plant is going to be different. You know, you're going to get a feel for each plant, and like some need more water than others. You know, some you need to water once a month, some you need to water once a week. And there's a couple ways that you can tell if a plant needs water. One, they're a little droopy. You know, you can see some brown on the ends of the leaves, and but there's two things that always work. And the first one is very basic, and it's just sticking your finger inside the dirt, maybe down an inch or two, just as far as you can get to like your
knuckle.
Yeah, your main knuckle there. And if it's dry, odds are it does need water. Now, the other thing that I really recommend getting is one of these. It's a moisture meter. And you just stick this thing down into the dirt, and it gets way further down than your finger can get. And it just gives you a little reading and lets you know, is it dry, moist, wet? You know, it lets you know if you're underwatering, overwatering, and I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can get one of these on Amazon. They're super cheap, but I use this thing all the time.
All the time.
You just walk around.
The box is great too because it has a little key
yeah.
for a lot of the different types of plants. And it'll tell you what to look for on the meter. Right,
yeah, and which, you know, where do you want to keep the plants? Like some will say, you know, keep it at number 5, keep it at number 2, whatever.
Yeah.
So this thing is like really helpful, especially if you have a lot of plants, because it kind of takes the guesswork out. And instead of like walking around and just, you know, you could just go one to the other, boom, 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 and it lets you know instantly. So that definitely works. All right, so once you figure out when you have to water a plant, now let's talk about how to water a plant. There's a couple different ways that I do it depending on the size of the plant. You know, some plants you can't go and lift up and drag over to the sink or the hose because they're huge, like our big bird of paradise over there. Things like gigantic. It's like on wheels and stuff. It's like insane. So the first one is, if it's a small enough plant, take it over to the sink or outside or whatever and just soak it until it runs down through and pours out of the bottom of the pot. Let it drip completely out. You're done. Put it back on its dish. The other option would be if it's a decent enough size plant with like a big dish inside, you just soak it again, wait till it starts pouring out into the dish. And if you can't move it, go and get a turkey baster. Which is a great little trick, and just, you know, suck out the extra water that fills up the dish and just, you know, throw it away, you know, fill a bottle or something, dump it out in the sink. That works a lot, especially for the bigger plants that you can't, you know, lift up easily. You know, you just let it fill up the dish and suck it out with the turkey baster and you're done. And then the last thing is, if you have really big plants like the bird of paradise or the monstera, and you have a nice big dish, you can water them from the bottom. So instead of going over to the plant and pouring water all over the top and waiting for it to drip through, you just fill the whole dish up and it'll drink it from the bottom. Now that technique is like easy, and you don't have to worry about anything pouring out or overflowing because it's just gonna take what can fit in there, and then you'll come back, you know, half hour later and it's gone, and you know you have to put more in there. But that technique can take way longer because you got to do it a few times. You know, like our bird of paradise, you know, that thing, like I could fill that tray up maybe 10 times
at least,
and it's still taking it. So you're better off pouring from the top and just soaking it. But you know, if you don't want to deal with, you know, sucking the water out or any dripping or anything, you can water them from the bottom if you have a big enough dish.
Yeah.
The other thing too, speaking of water, is I don't know like where you live, if your water's good. We live in California. I haven't really tested the water at our new place, but I know our old place, you know, had like really cruddy water that I wouldn't drink.
The tap water.
Yeah. Like it smelled like bleach and this and that. So if you're not going to drink the water, you probably really don't want your plants to drink it either. So it's kind of a pain, but I use a Brita to just kind of filter out some of the chlorine or whatever else is going on in there. And then I water the plants with that, if I can. I think that makes a difference, because for a while we were using the tap water there, and I could tell the plants did way better once I switched to using a Brita and giving them that, because the chlorine, all that, it, you know, it can change the color of the leaves. It's just, it's not good.
Well, when you think about them, when they're, you know,
they get rainwater.
Natural habitat. Yeah,
they
exactly.
Get nice,
they get
fresh rainwater.
rain.
It's not coming in through pipes. It's, you know, and it makes a difference.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely makes a difference. I'm a little OCD about it, probably. I mean, I could probably get away with just throwing the tap water in and they'd be fine, but I kind of like to go the extra mile and just filter the water. So I don't know where you live, you know, other places might have pristine tap water, and God bless, that's awesome.
Like where we're from.
Yeah, in New Jersey we had pretty good tap water. In California it's a little different.
Another thing with watering that I noticed, because we chose to go with pretty much all clay pots.
Good. Yeah.
The water, you can actually see where the water is in the pot. So you know whether or not you need to add more or wait for it to kind of drain out. That really helps, because I know in we have one plastic pot and we never know whether or not there's enough water in it. But in the clay, you can literally see the water line because the clay is so porous.
Right, and because of that, when you're using terracotta pots, you know, you're gonna need to water them more often because they breathe.
Yeah.
A plastic pot will hold the moisture inside way longer because there's nothing can get in there. It can't get any airflow through it. I definitely recommend using the terracotta pots, the clay pots.
Yeah.
They work, you know, way better. I mean, they're
a little heavier, they're a little more expensive, but it really helps. And I think that's the reason why we've had our plants for so long and in such good shape. Like that's definitely one of the factors. You definitely
want to use the terracotta pots if you can. Each plant, like I said, is going to be different. So whatever plant you have, you know, you can do a little research on, you know, how much water they need. There's even apps out there that you can, I don't know how good they are. I played with a couple of them, but
it's a good starting point for sure.
Just gives you some tips on like, oh, okay, your bird of paradise, you know, it needs to be watered this many times a week or whatever it is. But having the moisture meter takes all the guesswork out for you. So link in the description for this thing, just invaluable, must have tool. And it's
so worth the money.
Oh yeah, it's cheap. It's really cheap. And if you don't want to get one, like I said, you can also just use your finger and just get down as far as you can. And if it's dry, it needs water. All right, well, I guess that's it for how to water plants. Pretty simple stuff, but it can get a little tricky. So hopefully this helped out someone got some info. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like and let us know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this. And if you have any questions about houseplant care, feel free to ask us in the comment section, and we'll respond and try to help you out the best we can. We've accumulated a decent amount of houseplant knowledge over the past few years, and we're excited to add more information to this playlist. I think I love houseplants. I think a lot of people do. So go out and buy a houseplant, you know, just be careful because they're addicting. You get one, then you get two, and then before you know it, you're creeping up on 50 of them. So, yeah, but they're awesome. You know, they clean the air, it's relaxing, you know, they're just cool to have around, man. You know, it just kind of brings a little of the outside wild inside, which is cool. So if you like this sort of thing, don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Later. If you want to see more videos just like this one, be sure to check out the rest of the Where We Wild YouTube channel, where we post a brand new video every week. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever we post a new adventure. Thanks for watching.